Topical issue 4, Deputy Paul McAuliffe.
Minister, it is with huge regret that I raised the issue of the organisation of bus routes in my area here in the Dáil Chamber with you as a government minister. It's something that between the NTA and the operators of those buses, something that should not come to the floor of the Dáil. But Bus Connects, we know, has been controversial in many places where it has rolled out, and it has proved so in the latest phase, Phase 7, in the area that has impacted Finglas and Glasnevin. From the 19th of October, the 9, 83, 140, 40 and 40B were replaced with new bus routes 23, 24, F1, 2 and 3. And while the consultation was done over an extended period of time, there was dissatisfaction with the routes, as there is in any change process, people will be happy, people will be unhappy. But there's a number of, I think, very simple changes that could have been made to address the issues. But in the 3 weeks that has occurred since the implementation on the 19th of October, the routes alone are no longer the issue, Minister, because there has been an absolute calamitous rollout of the service over the last 3 weeks. One of those weeks being the midterm week, when many children were away from school and not using the service. Because whatever about people getting used to new routes or trying to find new ways of getting to work or arranging their school runs and so on, the reduced frequency on these routes is now the biggest issue. And when you put on top of that the failure of certain buses to turn up, people are waiting on average between 30 and 40 minutes, according to the emails that I have been receiving. And I've received nearly 100 emails in the last 3 weeks on this issue. So they're reporting to me, for example, the new 23 and 24 has a reduced frequency. So instead of the bus service being much more frequent at 10 or 15 minutes, we're now down to 20 minutes. So if one of those buses doesn't turn up, it's a case where in the morning times, children who are going out maybe for a 8:10 bus aren't getting that bus until nearly 20 to 9 or 8:45. They're late for school, and yet they've been there an hour. And I'm talking about a 15-minute journey here, Minister. This is something that shouldn't be occurring, because there is demand on that service and the frequency should be there to provide it. I'm getting reports of bus stops with 15, 20 people waiting on buses, and then when the bus does arrive, there's no room for people to get on. This is happening very early in the route, Minister. It might be on the second or third stop into the route. And as I say, the NTA should be able to resolve these issues with the provider, in this case Dublin Bus. But I have to say, I'm really disappointed with the response of the NTA. They haven't reacted to what is clearly an issue around the service delivery. They haven't reacted to the bedding in problems and tried to address them. And certainly from the feedback of the constituents who've been in touch with me, they're very dissatisfied. And Minister, this is basic stuff. This is people plan their day around the bus service. A bus service worked for many years, and now as a result of changes, you have people who are late to work, missing connections, and as I say, the core problem of the routes not servicing the areas that previously were serviced, and I'll cover that in a moment. But at the very least, if Dublin Bus and the NTA are going to implement new services, then the frequency should be appropriate to the demand. There shouldn't be extensive numbers of people at bus routes. There shouldn't be no limited space on a bus early in the route, and there shouldn't be missing buses. It's a very basic provision of services needed.
Thank you, Deputy Minister Troy.
Thank you, Ciarán, and I'd like to thank Deputy McAuliffe for raising this important topic, which I'm taking on behalf of our colleague Minister O'Brien. From the outset, I would like to clarify that the Minister for Transport has responsibility for policy and overall funding in relation to public transport. However, neither the Minister nor his officials are involved in the day-to-day operation of public transport services. The statutory responsibility for securing the provision of public passenger transport services nationally rests with the National Transport Authority. The NTA works with the public transport operators who deliver the services and have responsibility for day-to-day operational matters. That being said, I would like to reassure the Deputy that the Government is strongly committed to providing all citizens with reliable and realistic sustainable mobility options, and public transport plays a key role in the delivery of this goal. To support this objective, in Budget 2026, the Department of Transport secured €940 million of funding for public service obligation, PSO and TFI local link services, a significant 43% uplift, an increase from €658.4 million in 2025. Bus Connects is a transformative programme of investment in the bus system, providing better bus services across our cities. It is the largest investment in the bus system in the history of the state and is managed by the NTA. The aim of the network is to improve the existing Transport for Ireland system through enhanced services with high-frequency spines and new local, orbital and radial routes. The recently launched F-Spine, providing routes F1, 2, 3 as part of Phase 7 of the Bus Connects network redesign, introduces high-frequency 24-hour bus services routes F1, F2 and 80 on key corridors, enhancing connectivity between areas such as Tallaght, Finglas, Charlestown and the city centre. This redesign under Phase 7 of Bus Connects also introduced new radial services routes 23, 24, 73 and 82 and the new local route L89 to streamline the network and make services more efficient. The NTA have advised that in advance of these new routes being implemented, they distributed over 200,000 booklets to households across all areas covered by the routes. They also advertised the new services in local media outlets and online and provided detailed briefings to local public representatives. Separately, the NTA reported a technical fault in the Dublin Bus priority system, which adjusts traffic light signals to ease bus movement. The system malfunctioned for 3 consecutive days, causing unforeseen delays and significant frustration for customers. The issue was resolved last Wednesday and the performance is expected to steadily improve. This issue was separate from the Bus Connect's new service rollout, but affected all Dublin bus routes. The performance of all public transport operators is monitored by the NTA as part of the contractual arrangements in place between it and the operators. These contractual arrangements allow for not only just the monitoring of performance by the NTA and the publication of its annual performance reports, but importantly, the contracts also allow for the imposition of financial penalties where performance does not meet the required standard. Improvements are also being introduced to the vehicle location system and the real-time passenger information, all of which will improve the reliability of the system. I want to ensure that the NTA informed the Minister that they are carefully monitoring capacity and reliability during these early days of the new services and will continue to monitor situations, adjusting where appropriate. But I'm conscious that that's not the experience you felt.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy McAuliffe.
Well, thank you, Minister. And I too am reassured that the NTA have said that they will monitor frequency, because anybody that has seen any of the bus stops or any of the buses that are being used will see that an increase in frequency is required. And I am certain that they are going to have to respond because of the level of demand. The difficulty is how long will it take them to take that action, Minister? Look, as I say, the Bus Connects, I know, is controversial in different areas. I've had it in other parts of the area, and it does involve some compromises at times, and there are positive elements to the service. There's 2 new 24-hour bus routes, and there are other changes, additional new services, connections to Lewis and so on. But it's the basic design of the service, I think, that many people were very disappointed with. The fact that there's no local connection anymore between Finglas West and Finglas South, where many would have lived in one part of the area and had children in schools in the other. Boat routes 23 and 24 no longer serve the North City Centre, the O'Connell Street area, and so now people from the area are dropped off at George Street or Marion Square, which are miles away from the traditional shopping areas that they would have gone to in Henry Street or Mary Street. There's no bus service now operating in the Benevan Road area, or particularly the area where it interacts with Glasnevin Avenue. The diversion of the former number 9 bus from a road that has a bus lane onto a road, Ballygall Road East, that doesn't have a bus lane makes absolutely no sense at all. And finally, the Finglas East and Glasnevin area now no longer have a connection to places like Nafina, Sculmoby and the Glasnevin Drumcondra area. They are the structural route issues, and I can work with the NTA on those. But what we can't do is roll out a new service and fail to deliver the proposed service, or roll out a new service and provide a less frequent, less capacity service. This is a matter that the NTA will have to address, Minister, and I know in asking you this question here, they will have had to prepare the response to input into the department, and I hope in doing so, it's a call for them to take action.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, 𝐾𝐮𝐬, but the Deputy is so right. Transport connectivity and reliability are hugely critical for the people who live, work and study in Ireland, and they're essential to encourage people out of the cars onto public transport. In the latest progress report published in March of this year, Bus Connect's Dublin programme has shown significant improvements in key performance indicators. There has been an annualised increase of 9.35 million, or 75% in scheduled service kilometres in the NRD Phase 1 to 5B compared to equivalent routes operating prior to the NRD project. Passenger boardings on routes included in the NRD Phase 1 to 5B increased by 40% when compared to Dublin metropolitan bus routes that have not yet been altered in the redesigned network. Overall, the redesigned route saw a 48% increase in passenger boardings, while other routes experienced an increase of 8%. Additionally, the interim analysis indicates that 12% more places of employment are now reachable within 30 minutes with the redesigned network compared to the pre-Bus Connects network. This is moving the network towards the 18% place of employment reachability target. It should be noted that the F-spine, which is part of the Bus Connects Dublin area NRD, was finalised following 3 rounds of public consultation, which culminated in over 72,000 submissions being received. The overall network represents a major investment in enhanced bus services, delivering a 35% increase in annual in-service KMs, a significant increase in overall capacity and frequency for customers, as well as more evening and weekend services. The NTA will continue collaborating with operators and customers to enhance the punctuality and reliability of services throughout the NRD. Further, through initiatives like the Capacity Improvement Programme and implementation of ticketing techniques, the NTA are taking steps to enhance capacity and improve the overall travel experience for passengers. I want to assure the Deputy that Minister O'Brien will relay the concerns that you have raised on the floor of the Dáil tonight to the MTA to ensure a timely intervention and take on board the early teething problems, which we hope that's all they are, to the new bus route.
Thank you, Minister. We're going to go to topical issue number 1.